Okay, this is going to be an overview video showing the new GSA content generator. Basically just some of the features and the basics of setting up a campaign. So this tool basically allows you to enter keywords and it's going to generate content related to those keywords. It's going to find articles, related images, videos, authority links, and it's got add-ins, so it can also find related tweets, which can be embedded into your content. Um, Also, it allows you to run multiple projects simultaneously. So you could have 20 projects in 20 different niches, and it can be finding content and images and videos all for those different projects simultaneously. And it also supports multiple languages. So when you first download the software, the first thing you're going to want to do is probably just go over to the settings real quick and tweak the thread count. If you're on a home PC, you might want to start off with something lower, a lower thread count. I'm on a home PC right now for the demonstration, so I have this set to 10. The higher you have this set, the more it's going to be able to do. It's going to be able to work a bit faster when scraping content, but it's also going to use more resources on your computer, and it's also going to use more bandwidth. So just keep that in mind. If you decide to run this higher, if you're on a VPS, obviously running this at a higher thread count will probably be fine. It's got the same proxies, the proxy window and proxy tool that you're used to if you've used other GSA software. You can import your private proxies here. You've got all your options for the automatic stuff. If you decide you want to use public proxies, it can scrape public proxies as well from all these different sources. For me, I personally choose to use private proxies just because I have them. I use them with other software. They're a lot faster and more reliable. You don't necessarily have to use proxies. It just depends on the amount of scraping you're going to be doing. If you're planning on running a bunch of projects simultaneously that are all going to be scraping a bunch of content and images, you might need to run proxies if you run into issues there with getting blocked. You can also increase the time between search engine queries to help with that, because it does use Google and Bing when searching for content. So if you're hitting those too fast, too quickly, you could get blocked. So you can increase the time between those queries here, which is something you might want to do if you aren't going to be using proxies. So the first thing when you get this software is you probably want to tweak these, drop in some proxies if you want, and then you can choose if you want to enable proxies for search engines and if you want to use proxies for other websites. Then down here is just some skins to change the appearance of the software, but it's not going to really affect performance. It's just for looks. Okay, and that's pretty much it for this settings window. So the first thing I'll do is I will go through. You can see I've already set up 3 campaigns. Up here is how you start your new projects. The first one is going to be a very basic project wizard. It makes it real simple. You can choose your language, move through, enter your keywords, choose if you want images and videos, all that kind of stuff. Choose the readability of the content. And it's a quick way, just an easy to use wizard that'll walk you through your content. But for most people, they're probably going to want to tweak every little thing, to get the best, just to be able to control every aspect of it. And that's going to be this new project option here, advanced, which really isn't advanced. We'll go through that in a second. But the thing I want to show real quick before I go to that is the create multiple projects from a keyword. So you can actually create projects in mass. If you hover over this, it shows a format for tying a domain to the keywords. but I'm just going to show you. Let's see if we did. Okay, so we have 3 different keywords here, and you can see I already have projects set up that I've already chosen settings for, and I've ran those projects and everything. If I wanted, I could have all these projects use the same settings as any of the other projects that I've already created. So I would select that, and then I would just click OK, and you can see it automatically created those projects for me. I'll go ahead and delete those. But that is how you create them in mass. And this is the option most people are probably going to want to use, is the create a new project advanced. When you click on that, it'll tell you to enter a name, and then from there it's going to go to this tab, or this window showing the first tab here is the input tab. The first box is where you're going to enter your keywords. This is the keywords it's going to use to find the content. So you want to put your niche relevance, the keywords for your niche in here. You can click edit. You can import keywords. You can also use the keyword suggestion scraper, and you can see where it scrapes suggestions from. It's got a bunch of different places, and when you click OK, it's automatically going to start scraping and populating this with keywords. Down here, you just put in your backlink URLs, your website URLs that you want to be linked to in the content. You've got an options you can import from file, clipboard, and then of course you can crawl your URL. So if you want to get the internal pages of a website, you can crawl that, and it's going to populate those down here, and you can select those, and it's automatically going to import them in this window, so you don't have to go to your website manually and write down each URL one by one. It's just a faster way to do that. And then here's where you're going to put your anchors, your main anchors, and then there'll be some more anchor options on the other tab, which I will show. And then of course you can import anchors if you want. And then here, keywords must be in URL, pretty self-explanatory. The keywords that you enter here must be in the actual URL for the software to accept that article. Same here, keyword must be present in the title before it'll accept it. And then by default, it's when the software is scraping, it's checking to make sure that your keywords are present in the articles. And if you wanted to use, if you didn't want these keywords but you wanted some different keywords to be present, you could just select this here, uncheck that, and then put in other keywords that you want to be present in the article instead of these. Okay, so that pretty much covers this tab. The sources, at the top here you can select your language. It's got different languages. Then here you've got your sources, which you can check, uncheck. You can add your own sources. If you click add, it's got a neat feature where you can actually just enter a URL, and like say there's a website with an article that you like, and you can enter that URL here, and it will try and scrape that article automatically without any kind of programming added. You just paste in URL, it's going to try to scrape it, and strip any links, and just it'll try to grab the article. You can also use a URL as a search engine. The way to explain that would, I guess, certain URLs, for example, if let's see, like let's say Quora, let's say when we did a search on a website, Quora, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's like a search engine that people ask questions and other people will respond with answers, kind of like a questions answers type site, and you can search on there to find things you're looking for, answers you're looking for, and related articles and stuff like that. And let's say when we searched on their website, if we looked at the URL, that the URL had a keyword our keyword present in the URL. When we do a search, what we could do is we could take, if you look here, it says search percent. You can use this placeholder in the URL. So we would put percent search percent in the URL, and what that's going to do, and then if we put this in here and click, it's a search engine, what it's going to do is when it uses this as a source, it'll automatically put each of the keywords we defined in the input tab. It will search the URL with each of those keywords and try to extract the content. So hopefully that makes sense. It sounds tricky, but you know, not all websites offer that when you do a search on them, but some do, and you could use them as a search engine if they allow that, if they do have that option in the URL, if the keyword is present there. So that's something that could be pretty useful. You can also import multiple URLs, which it'll try to extract content from. You can just load the URLs in a file. You can pull content from a folder, which it will use to generate more articles from. It can mix and match paragraphs and sentences and things like that. But really, you don't have to tweak any of that if you don't want to. You can just run off the normal sources and it'll find plenty of content all on its own. Then you got options here to use previously collected data, use only fresh data. So if you were to check none here and choose use previously collected data, if you've already ran a project for a certain niche, and let's say you wanted to run it again and use only previously collected data, it's not, and you had this unchecked, it's going to generate content a lot faster because it's not going to be having to scrape new content from these sources. But the downside of that is it could be more duplicate content that you've already used, since it's already used that content previously. It just depends on what algorithms you use and the spinner you use and that kind of thing. Okay, if we have this checked, if we have all these checked and we have this checked, then it's going to use previously collected data and it's going to find fresh content, so it's going to be a mix of that. And if we have this, all these checked and use only fresh data, well, then it's only going to find fresh data or fresh content. And so that's pretty much it for this sources tab. You really don't have to tweak anything with this if you don't want to. You can just kind of skip over this tab and just select your language if you don't want to fiddle with custom sources. But the custom sources is a pretty cool feature that some of the other tools on the market don't offer. And then the output tab, this is where you get to really define things of how you want your articles to be. You've got your different algorithms, if you want it to create new sentences, if you want to mix sentences from all the articles that it scrapes, mix sentences, mix paragraphs from all articles, that kind of thing. If you want to have the basically duplicate, like if you just wanted to scrape the exact article, you could put same article here, and it's going to scrape the exact articles as shown, but you'll probably want to make sure you use a good spinner to make it unique. So up here we've got the number of articles you want to generate. If you want, you can put max, and it's going to generate as many articles as possible. Then you can define how many paragraphs you want per article, how many words per paragraph, number of titles. And then this option here is title with keywords, basically saying the keyword has to be present in the title and the output. And you can also configure, you can either use the keywords that were defined on the input tab that you use for scraping, or you can use different keywords. You can uncheck this and use different keywords. Then of course you've got your insert images, where you can put your range, how many images you want per article. More options here, insert videos. A lot of this is self-explanatory. You can configure where you want the images to be embedded into your articles. Same with videos, the format. You can select if you want it to be an image or a video, not both in an article. If you want an image and video, you could uncheck that. Then of course up here we can insert our URLs and anchors. If we want them to be a certain amount of them to be no follow, we can do that. Same with authority links. Again, we can configure where we want these links to be placed in the articles. Okay, the always same URL option here is going to, let's say you have this set to embed 5 URLs. If you put always same URL, it's going to embed the same URL 5 times. This option here, the try to link within text flow, is pretty important. I pretty much always have this enabled. If you have this disabled, it's going to try and create, it's going to drop a word or a sentence in there that's going to be your anchor text instead of automatically turning a keyword that's in the article into anchor text. So here we defined online guitar lessons, and in the article where it naturally reads online guitar lessons within the article, it would turn that into a link instead of trying to drop in a sentence or a word that's out of place in the article to turn into an anchor text link. So really having this on just makes it appear more natural. Here we've got insert generic anchors, URL anchors, domain anchors, all that's self-explanatory. And you can configure your generic anchors here, clicking the configure, and you can see the defaults, and if you want to add more, delete them, add your own, you can do that here. And then of course the spin syntax, if you click configure, I'm using spin rewriter right now. You can add, currently you see the support for the different spinners where you can click them and then add in your your email, password, and then you choose your quality, and just depending on the spinner you use, some will use, oh well mine's already added, but some have more options than others. You can see here, and then you've got a couple options here if you want to use the internal spinner, which means you don't have to have one of these services. You can use that. Of course it's not going to be as good as using a service that's dedicated to that. And then you've got the option to remove original words from spin syntax, and that's pretty much it for the spin syntax setup. Then you've got character spinning, which is a bit outdated. I personally never use this. It uses special characters in your content to make it look unique. To make it appear unique to the search engines, but this is a pretty old technique that is pretty outdated. So I would probably not use that if you really cared about the content. Insert HTML variations. This can just add like different text decorations to your content to make it a bit more unique. If we click configure, let's say you wanted 10%, that's a lot, but let's say you wanted 10% of the article to be bold. You can change different percentages here and it will automatically bold 10% of the article, add underlines, do different things, bunch of different options for that. And then you have the option to insert random paragraph spoilers, decorations, again some more things to just make it a bit unique, make it different than just your normal bland article. And then you can insert add-in data, and you have the percentage here, and I'll show what the add-in data is. Currently that is tweets. Software will scrape tweets related to your keywords, and it can embed that automatically if you choose. Then the last tab is the filter modify tab, and this is pretty neat. You have the option to batch skip words. Like this is kind of like a negative filter, bad words filter. You can put those words in here and it's automatically going to filter out that content that has any of these words. And then you've also got this manual thing here where, let's say your article, you have replace, remove, and then URL skip. So let's say all our articles had the word guitar in it and we wanted to replace that with the word drums. Then we could put guitar here and it's going to action, it's going to replace that, and it applies to the word. It's going to replace it with drums. So we can replace things, we can remove whole articles, we can skip URLs, and then of course we can put what it applies to words, sentences, paragraphs, the entire article. So that's a pretty neat thing that's going to, so if you set this up, you can see there that it's going to automatically do that after it's done scraping and everything. It'll run that, and you can set up as many of these as you want. Okay, so that's pretty much how you would walk through and set up a campaign. It's very easy. There's a lot of different things you can tweak. So you can, when you're done, you just click save and scrape and it's going to automatically start running. I'll go ahead and I will duplicate this project just to show you. If you right click on a project, you can duplicate them, and you can duplicate the articles, images. You can see what you want to actually duplicate. And for us, we're not going to, I'm just going because I want to run it again. So we've got a copy, and just to show, I'm going to go ahead and save and scrape. And when it starts scraping, you get a log here, and you get to see the different results. Let me go ahead and minimize this. Basically just a log window showing what's going on, and then it tells you what's going on, what it's working on right now. And the thing is, if it's taking a while, let's say you're scraping articles, you know, and you need to hurry and get it done, and it's taking a while. Right now it's scraping. What I could do is I could hit skip, and it's going to take the articles that it's already scraped, and then it's going to move on to the spinning action. So it'll use the articles you already have, and then it'll go to spinning. You know, if a certain process is taking too long, it just allows you to kind of move faster. By default, it's going to find a lot of different articles, because the more articles it finds, it's able to produce more unique content and different variations. So that might take longer than you want, and you can just hit the skip on that, and that'll move to the next process. If you hit abort, it's going to completely cancel the project altogether. Of course, you can click hide, and you can see here it kind of tells you in the status what's going on with that project. If I was to hit the skip button, it would say that it's skipping and then moving on to the next process. You can double click on it, it brings the log back up. Click hide and it's hidden. And then to show you, if we click on a project that's already been run, down here we have the articles tab, which actually, you know, shows the title of the article, and then the algorithm, which if you drag this open, you can see the uniqueness level. And this is the uniqueness of the article compared to the original source article. And you can actually click on an article and you can show the used source, where the article came from, if you wanted to check it out and compare it to that article. And then if you scroll over, you've got some more data, how many paragraphs are in that article, how many sentences, how many words, the sources, all that kind of stuff. And we've also got some more options. If we right click on an article, If an article isn't spun, if we didn't have that it's set to spin, but we want to go ahead and spin it later, then we can select it and then insert spin syntax. We've got an option to check copyscape. So if we want to check how unique the article is in copyscape, we can do that. Show the source URLs, search articles by keywords, search sources by keywords. Of course, we've got images. These are the related images. You can actually export images as their own thing. You don't have to have them embedded in the articles. I mean, you can, if you just wanted to use this as a image scraper or video scraper to find relevant images and videos, you can do that and export these on their own. You can go through, and it's got an image viewer if you want to see. So this is for guitar lessons. If there was images I click on and I don't like them, I can just hit delete and it will remove them. It's got the same thing for videos. You can preview the videos. You know, you've got a breakdown of the title, keywords, playtime, all that kind of stuff. Then you've got authority links. So like each one of these, all these can be exported individually. And the add-ins, this is Twitter. So you could click on one and it'll open up and it'll show you a tweet. So this is someone tweeted, how long did it take you to learn how to play the guitar? So this could actually automatically be embedded into your articles. So that's a pretty neat feature. And of course you can export those if you want. And then of course up here you've got your templates, which I wanted to show. If you use GSA search engine ranker, one of the cool things you can do is, let's say we already have a project. You see my project here, just created my website. It's my project, and I can automatically send this content to my project. And let's say I only want to send articles that are a minimum of, 50% unique. Then I could do that. I would set that here, click OK, and then it's going to show the projects I have available in Search Engine Ranker. And if I click OK, it's automatically going to send all these articles to that project. It also has a bunch of other templates. So there's a bunch of templates for other software. HTML templates, just exporting in text, and pretty much anything you need. WordPress XML. You just select the template you want and you can export them here. If you only want to export specific articles, you can go to Tools and select by filter. And what this will do is you can actually narrow things down. So say we wanted articles that are at least 60% unique and that were at least 60% unique with Copyscape, then we could do that and click OK, and it's going to automatically highlight those. So let me show. So let's say I wanted really unique articles and I only wanted those articles. I could set this to, let's say, spin uniqueness 60. And so out of these 30 articles that I had scraped, you can see it highlighted the ones that meet the 60% uniqueness. Then what I could do is I could right click, check Copyscape, and then I would put in my Copyscape info and I would check only the highlighted items here, and that's going to show, it will tell me how unique these articles are on Copyscape. And then I could export only those if I wanted. And that way I could have some really unique content. And let's see what else. In the tools, again, we can search these. If we want to search articles by keywords, search sources. This is the filter I already showed you that just helps you narrow things down in your content a bit more when you want to export. You've got an add new language option, and you can pick Like say you wanted to add Russian. I don't know if I already have Russian added, so but basically it'll try to find nouns and verbs and things like that to add this language, and it's going to create a words list for that, and it'll generate sources and stuff so you can start scraping that language. I'm going to go ahead and abort these. So you can see after your language has been added, you'll see this pop up and it says your language has been added. You can add, however, it is still missing an internal spin database, and you can add that as well using Tools Spin Database Editor, or you can import a thesaurus from LibreOffice. So I'll show you the Spin Database Editor, which is in the tools here. What you could do is, once you have your language, you could load it in. For me, I don't speak any other languages other than English. So, but basically you would load a database, could load it. Oops. And you can see the original words, and then you can add different spin variations, one per line, for different words. You can see the variations that are already added, and then you could save that, and that will just that's basically a spin database you could build out yourself. Of course that would take some time, but since this tool offers scraping from a lot of different languages, there's no way, unless GSA, unless they were able to speak every single language, it wouldn't be possible to do all languages and have them perfect and everything. So really the users need to kind of come together and offer suggestions on how to do and how to improve things for different languages in the software. So yeah, that's basically the software and how it works, and it's a GSA tool, so it's going to grow quickly. And if you have suggestions for the software, if you have things that can be improved and all that, make sure you click the help menu and go to the forum. The developer is always on the forum, always participating, and would love to hear your ideas, what you think could be improved, what you want to see added. A lot of the features that are currently in the tool were suggested by users. So, and I'm sure there's things I didn't cover. Oh yeah, like the scheduler is one. And this just basically lets you run, if you have a lot of projects and you want to run a certain amount of projects at a time, for a certain amount of time, you can do that. It's just a scheduler, so not everything. So if you have a lot of projects and say you're running on a computer that doesn't have a lot of resources, and you only want to run a certain amount at a certain time, for a certain amount of time, you can do that. And that is about it. That's the new GSA content generator. Like I said, definitely check out the forum and share your ideas and what can be improved.